Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I am discussing a concert that I just saw last night, August the 10th, 2024 at the beautiful Elmwood Park in Roanoke, Virginia. Now Elmwood is a small outdoor amphitheater, holds about 2,500, 3,000 people. Really cool place. I've seen Daryl Hall, Brian Wilson, the Wallflowers there. And the first concert I ever saw at Elmwood was actually Old Crow Medicine Show 9 years ago today that I'm filming this, August the 11th. It was the summer before I start. Oh, it was the summer right when I was starting my senior year of college. So very cool that within a day was the first anniversary of seeing Old Crow. It was the anniversary of seeing Old Crow for the first time live. That's what I'm saying. I apologize. Now, I've seen Old Crow again 2 other times, both in Roanoke. Again, the first time in Elmwood Park in 2015, and then again last March at the Performing Arts Center inside with one of my cousins. And Old Crow, if you don't know them, based out of Nashville, Tennessee. Roots are in Harrisonburg, Virginia. I'm proud to say, being from Virginia myself. Ketch Secor, founding member of the band, still leading the group of musicians to this day, with his longtime bass player Morgan Janning, who has been with the group many, many years, mostly just about from their beginning. So he's been on all the albums that Old Crow put out since their recording time started. Now, again, I've seen Old Crow 3 times, 3 different lineups, some crossover members. It's always a great show. If you've never seen them, never heard of them, Old Crow are an old time. Well, they started as an old time string band, playing bluegrassy kind of music, folk. Their big influence was Bob Dylan. Ketch Secor actually mentioned at the show that he used to drive to Roanoke to see Bob Dylan because Bob Dylan wouldn't go to Harrisonburg to give shows. So very cool. Ketch has that connection of seeing his hero in Roanoke for the first time years ago when he was, seeing his hero. And yeah, so got to the show pretty close to a full capacity crowd, I would say. Uh, Probably out of all the Old Crow shows that I've seen, this one was a quieter crowd. Had nothing to do with the music. Music was fantastic from start to finish. Those guys always can put on a heck of a show. I don't know how they do it night after night, putting that same energy into every show. I really don't know how they do it. But a couple big milestones for Old Crow this on this tour. They're celebrating 20 years of their big song "Wagon Wheel," which is the song that everybody knows. You sing it in every bar that you go to, every sing along. Kids on acoustic guitars are learning "Wagon Wheel," which has origins with Bob Dylan that you can look up on your own. Essentially, it was a piece of a Bob Dylan tune that Old Crow finished writing. So they're celebrating 20 years of Wagon Wheel. They've got all sorts of cool Wagon Wheel merch on their website and at the show. And they are also touring behind this record that came out last year called Jubilee, which runs in conjunction with their 25th anniversary as a band. So big milestones, 20 years of their biggest song, 25 years as a group. Really, really cool that this is all kind of coming together at once. So I have not seen them since they put out this record, so I was excited to hear some of the new songs on here. And this album kind of takes it back to some of their older material while also incorporating their newer sound. They've never lost track of who they are, I wouldn't say. But this one really brings out more of the stringed instruments that you heard so much on those first 2 or 3 records by Old Crow. Now, this is a cool inner sleeve here with portraits of the guys in the band that were on this record. So you have Ketch up here who plays fiddle, guitar, harmonica, dances, sings, writes. He's just a whiz of a musician. There's Morgan, the bass player, Morgan Janning, Corey Younts, who I first saw play, not knowing it was him, with Justin Townes Earl. There's a great video online of him playing with Justin Townes Earl the song "John They Killed John Henry," and it's just fantastic. He's on clawhammer banjo. Again, multi-instrumentalist. He played piano most of the night, but also played harmonica. I think I've seen him play drums, guitar, mandolin. He's just all over the board. Fantastic. You have Mike Harris here on lead guitar, banjo, vocals, and then on this record you had Jerry Pentecost on drums and Mason Vaya on guitar and singing a lot of those high harmonies. Since this record was made, Mason and Jerry have gone on to other endeavors. The very cool fact about Jerry is I saw him twice with Bob Dylan. He toured Bob Dylan before the current tour. He was playing drums for him, so that was really cool. Got to see him twice last year playing with Bob Dylan. So with that, they've picked up member PJ George, who is a native of the Roanoke area. So very cool to have him. Hometown crowd got a big reception. I think some of his friends or his family were a couple rows in front of me. They were, screaming every time he had a guitar solo. He did a song called Dixie Avenue, which is one of my favorite Old Crow songs, written by Critter Fuquay, one of the founding members. Has a lot of connections to Rockingham County, where Old Crow are from, which is where I went to college in that area. So references to landmarks, road, route numbers, that sort of thing. Really, really fun song. But Old Crow, again, high energy. They are pretty much out of the gate moving, and you've got to kind of keep up with them. They mix, a lot of their obviously original stuff, which even their original stuff takes songs from the past and they intertwine new lyrics, like the song Carry Me Back to Virginia. That's a very old song dating back to the American Civil War. And Old Crow kind of has made it their own. It's a concert staple. They've done it all 3 times that I've seen them. And obviously seeing them 3 times in Virginia, that gets a really big, applaud from the audience. And, then they also do, their own stuff. I mean, they did stuff like Alabama High Test. They did a song called Lord Willin' and the Creek Don't Rise, which is one of my favorite songs from their album just before this, sung by Corey Younce. It's one of my favorite Old Crow songs. They did a few songs off this album I was happy to hear. They did Bellmead Cockfight, which originally was with instrumentalist and singer Sierra Farrell, but Mike, the guitar player, took her lines and sang as a duet with Ketch. They also did Wolfman of the Ozarks, again high speed bluegrass song. It's fantastic. Keel Over and Die, I believe they did. So they did a few songs on this record, not as many as I thought they were going to do. When I saw them in March last year, they were promoting their album Paint This Town, and they did a little more than half of that record live, I do believe. But yeah, just really, really cool to see Old Crow in Roanoke. Obviously, their song Wagon Wheel, which has become just, again, an icon of a tune, made famous again by Darius Rucker. That's how probably most people know it. But Old Crow, for me, Old Crow, that's their song 1,010%, because it's, it fits their style much more. Although I love Darius, but Old Crow, that's theirs. So there's a line in that song where they sing, walking due south out of Roanoke. And so every time that they sing that in Roanoke, the crowd is just waiting for it. And just a great line to hear. And what's cool about Old Crow, especially Ketch, is he always knows the area. Like he can talk about, the railroad that comes through town. He knows about all the landmarks, and he does his studies. And also being from Virginia himself, he has that extra edge. Again, talking about coming to Roanoke, seeing Bob Dylan, and spending time here in his upbringing. So always cool to have a Virginia band that's made themselves known, and for them to come back and still acknowledge their roots is just a really, really cool thing to see. But yeah, they did a lot of covers, which was kind of cool. They did Cool Clear Water. They did some snippets of Proud Mary, which I think they put into their set after Tina Turner passed away. So they do Proud Mary. They did Great Balls of Fire. They did, again, traditional songs that they've made their own. CC Rider, which their new drummer, Dante Pope, came out of the drum kit, came to the piano. He sang a really great lead on that. Dante was awesome. And a few times they got around the microphone, played, around one mic. Dante had his, washboard going. They had their instruments, their acoustic instruments around the mic. Really cool. They did a version of U.S. Blues by the Grateful Dead. Really cool. They had, American flag out there. Crowd went nuts. And then they had this great opening group called the Po Ramblin' Boys, who were based out of Sevierville, Tennessee. If you know Dollywood, that's where Sevierville is. And they played straight ahead string bluegrass music to open. Had a full hour set, really cool. And they came out for the last 4 or 5 songs at the end, including the encore, which came after Wagon Wheel. They did Wagon Wheel, bowed, came out. Went backstage, came back, did the encore 2 songs. They came back out doing The Weight by the band, which was fantastic. For them to switch lyrics, switch vocals. Corey sang a part, Catch, Mike, PJ. I think some of the Po Ramblin' Boys were also singing some leads as well. So really cool to see that, and that got the crowd, singing the chorus big time. And then they closed with I Saw the Light, the Hank Williams tune. The last 2 times that I've seen Old Crow, they finished with Will the Circle Be Unbroken. So I was expecting that one to be at the end. So it was nice to have, a little bit of a change there with I Saw the Light. But always a great show. Really cool when you're in a town, especially a small town like Roanoke, and the group's biggest hit is mentioning your town. It's one thing if a group mentions New York or L.A., like those big cities that are in a million songs, but nobody talks about Roanoke. So very cool to get that experience again for the 3rd time with Old Crow, with Ketch, Morgan, the rest of the guys. Again, fantastic musicians, the whole group. They all, are multi-instrumentalists. They, switching from drums to guitar to piano to mandolin to fiddle. It's just insane. And again, to have a hometown rep there in the band with PJ was really a cool thing. So anyway, great show. Highly recommend them. I want anybody to comment if they saw the show, if you've seen Old Crow before. Let me know what you think, what you thought, and I'd be interested to continue the discussion in the comments. So yeah, everybody take care, y'all be good, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye now.